our kids needs motivation. At kung paano po natin ibibigay yan, dyan po papasok yung tuning in. Yan po, provocation. Great provocation po ang mag-spark ng curiosity ng mga bata. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go further. So this is the next step. Okay? Next step po natin is going further. The students will be demonstrating new understandings and perhaps continued misconceptions about the topic. Tama po kayo. Bakit? Tama po yung narinig ninyo. Misconceptions, continued misconceptions about the topic. Kasi tulad nga po na sinasabi ko, ang inquiry po, hindi po siya porket may misconception tayo tapos natapalan natin yung misconception, naintindihan na natin. Pero pag nag-move tayo or nag-go further, meron at meron pa rin po yung misconceptions. Sabi niya, ay okay, kasi continuous yung finding natin. And actually, this cycle, ito pong phases of inquiry niya po ito, tinawag po siya na phases of inquiry kasi even if you're already in the going further, you can always go back sa finding out. You can always go back po sa sorting out. Kasi ito naman po, hindi porket sinabi na ito ay 5 stages, ibig sabihin mag-stick tayo doon. What if, tulad nga po na sinabi ko sa inyo, not all the students have the same capabilities. So paano yung bata mo ay hindi pa nag-go further? Diba? They are still working on their sorting out. So hindi po tayo dapat na strictly following, okay, hoy, nasa going further na tayo, dapat ganito, ganyan. So hindi po. So anyway, students will be demonstrating new understandings and perhaps continued misconceptions about the topic. So, ayan. So that is for going further po. Always expect their differences. Tama po kayo kasi it's very difficult po sa isang bata, especially kapag wala po siyang, tulad ng sinasabi ko, hindi po lahat ng bata ay pare-pareho po ng abilities. So may mga bata po talaga na slow, may bata naman na sobrang advanced. Yan po. So dapat we are ready for this. Yan po as a teacher. So children learn at their own pace. Tama po. Tama po kayo. Okay, so what will be the purpose of this going further? To extend and challenge students' understandings about the topic, to provide more information in order to broaden the range of understandings held by the students, to meet the particular interests they have emerged during the unit, to revise where necessary some of the key understandings relevant to the topic, and to develop independent research skills. Yan. So sa going further po, yan, gusto po natin na ang mga bata ay mas ma-develop pa po yung independent research skills nila. Yan. At ma-revise yung mga dapat nilang i-revise. For example po, my classmates here sa PCU po, I invited them for the exhibition. Yung exhibition po this is the culminating activity sa primary years program of the International Baccalaureate. So ito pong exhibition na po ito, the students need to research on their own. Yan, pag minsan po individual, pag minsan naman po group. So, meron nag-create sila ng sarili nilang central idea, and this central idea is the big idea or the target po. Yun yung gusto nilang maintindihan ng mga tao. And from their research, as they go on with this inquiry process or the phases of inquiry, lagi po silang dito po sa time na to, akala nila tapos na sila. Akala nila okay na kasi I already finished my project, I already did my research, nag-cut na sila ng mga dapat nilang ilagay sa mga posters nila or sa website nila. Yan. But then during the discussion, na-realize nila na may mali pala ako. Kasi diyan pumapasok yung role ng teacher. When you have the discussion, when you share your thoughts, marirealize po ng mga estudyante natin na oo nga no, mali no. So dapat nilang i-revise. So this is the purpose of going further po. Ayan. Sana po naiintindihan niyo pa rin po yung sinasabi ko. Klaro pa po ba ako?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Ayan. Ayan, klarong-klaro pa po. Ayan. So here, what might this look like in an online class? Okay, are you familiar with learning contract? Familiar po ba kayo sa learning contract? Ang alam lang nating contract, yung contract sa ating school. So, ito pong learning contract, this is an example po of learning contract for unit of work. Okay? Nakakatuwa, may pumapasok pa rin. So, this learning contract for unit of work, entitled It's a Small World. Okay? So, I want you to take a look at it po habang ako po ay iinom. Ayan. So, dito po sa learning contract, nakalagay po dito, choose one insect you would like to find out more about. Okay, so nakalagay po dito, chosen insect for contract focus. So, ang nilagay ng bata is bees. We agree to complete the following tasks by date. Yan, kailan? Kontrata talaga, nakakontrata talaga siya. Gather and record information from at least 3 different sources about life cycles, beekeeping, and types of bees. Make a model of our chosen insect. Prepare a simple slideshow about what we have learned about our insect and give a short talk to the class about what we have learned. Then you have the student signature and the teacher signature. Actually, ang ganda po nito. Agree po ba kayo? Yan, sana kopyahin niyo po itong learning contract kasi maganda siya. Kaya ko po encourage kayo na gamitin ito kasi alam po ng bata na on this day, kailangan kong ma-submit ang task or ang research ko. So nag-agree po kayo, both party, student and teacher, agreed na ito po yung chosen na insect, kung ano yung chosen topic. Okay? And then, nakalagay na rin po doon kung ano yung dapat na hanapin. Okay? Tapos, at the end, meron ng making a model and mag-prepare na ng slideshow. Ang ganda po kasi dito nyo po makikita, kahit hindi po nakalagay dyan na kailangan bonggahan ng bata ang pagpapasa ng slideshow, pero makikita nyo po yung creativity ng estudyante ninyo. Yung making a model of our chosen insect, ano ba? Wala namang nakalagay sa contract kung anong materials ang gagamitin nila. So again, if the student will ask you, Ma'am, ano pong gagamitin kong materials? You can always say you can use whatever materials available sa inyo. Yan. So makikita nyo talaga yung creativity and madidevelop nila yung skills na yan. Okay? Next po. Individual projects. So brainstorm possible topics within the broader unit topic that would be explored through projects. So ito naman po, sa going further, masabi natin na okay, pwede na tayo magpagawa ng individual projects. It can be like this. So very simple project to para sa mga maliliit na bata. Kailangan lang nilang lagay dyan yung diet, habitat, babies. Tingin ko yan sa insects pa rin yan or sa mga animals. Yan. So you can ask them to do a simple project, individual project to show their, yun nga, kung ano na yung nag-gather nilang information about the topic that you are discussing. Okay pa? So if this were a lesson today, this might be examples of the going further phase. I have that in science. Sila mismo kumuha ang specimen then observe. Ayan, no? Di ba maganda po? Create a template of a lesson using the inquiry cycle by Kath Murdoch. Ayan, kung ako po ang teacher ninyo at gagawin ko po itong going further phase, I can ask you to create a template of a lesson using the inquiry cycle by Kath Murdoch and group you, participants, to create a list of all the possible activities for each phases of inquiry. Yan. Yan na po yung going further. Okay, malapit na po tayo. what time is it na? 7:44. O, di ba? Malapit na tayong matapos. Then, I can give you time po for question and answer. Okay. Next is making conclusions. Okay. Making conclusions. Ano po bang naisip natin pag making conclusion? Pa-type naman po kung ano po ang naiisip natin pag nakita natin tong word na to, words na to, making conclusions. This experiment, okay po. How about the others? Generalization, yan, reflection. Okay. Summary of what one has learned. Yan, tama po yan. Synthesis. Yan. Dito na rin po ba na ginagawa yung mga assessment natin or the summative assessment sa making conclusions? What do you think po? Results, understanding. Yan. Yan. Sa making conclusions po, ito, students make connections between what they have learned. Okay? So, usually sa making conclusion, ito na po yung sinasabi natin na okay, we are giving the summative task for our kids, for our students. Ayan. Summarize the main points, result. Okay. Ito po. So, this is to help the teachers and learners to evaluate the extent to which this had taken place. So, kailangan na nating i-evaluate kung ano ba talaga yung natutunan na ng bata. So, if you are talking about the matters, yung solid, liquid, gas, nasaan na ba sila doon sa natutunan nila? So, ang nangyayari dyan, we are giving summative task for our students. Yan. So, sa inquiry base, so as we go on in this process, at the end of it, we need to make sure that they fully understood your topic or your lesson. So paano natin malalaman kung ang bata ay naintindihan ang iyong lesson? So this is through quizzes, yan, through test, di ba? Yan ayan ang kalimitan natin ginagawa, unit test. Yan, ganyan po. Or nagbibigay tayo ng project and then presentations. Ganyan po yung binibigay natin. Okay. So actually, this is also the time na masasabi natin na, okay, ito ba, nagre-reflect na rin tayo eh. Ito po, yung bawat phases of inquiry po, hindi po nawawala ang reflection doon. Tandaan niyo po yan, sa bawat phases of inquiry, kailangan we're always looking back at the things that we did. Yun po. Importante talaga ang reflection. So, let's move on. So, what are the purposes of making conclusions? To assist students to make conclusions and generalizations about the topic, assess and demonstrate students' progress towards the planned understandings, skills, and values throughout the unit, to inform further planning, to encourage students to reflect on their learning, to foster each student's ability to synthesize their learning and to see the big picture ideas behind the topic, to help students explore and justify their feelings and values related to a topic, and to provide a point of comparison. Yan, nandyan na yung makukompare natin yung mga ideas ng ibang estudyante. So, yung tulad nga na sinabi ko sa inyo, kapag meron tayong summative assessment task na ibinibigay sa mga bata, and one of the examples dito ay yung paggawa ng project. So, dito pumapasok yung project-based learning. So, kapag ang bata ay gumawa ng project, doon mo makikita na, ay, oo nga, no, hindi ko naisip yun. Bakit sa pag-research ko, hindi ko natuklasan yun? So, doon natin makikita na they have the comparison. So, each students compare kung ano yung mga ideas na na-generate nila at the beginning of the unit and also yung evident na pinakita nila ngayon. So, ayan po, may comparison yan. Diba? At saka doon mo rin, yung sinasabi naman dito, doon mo masasabi na yung bata na, ay, oo nga, no, dito na yung aha moments. Diba? May mga aha moments. And this is one of the maganda, napakasarap na feeling. kapag ang bata ay naringgan mo na, aha, may aha moments. So, ibig sabihin, naintindihan nila or na mas lalo nilang may deeper understanding sila doon sa lesson na tinuturo mo. Yan po. And to develop metacognitive abilities. Yan, metacognition. Okay, so what might this look like in an online class? Ano po ba? So, using the Google Slides. So, one of the examples ng summative, pagbibigay ng summative task or assessment sa mga bata is to create a presentation, and they can use a Google Slides. Sa online po, ayan, if they are using laptop sa higher level, ayan, may Google Slides po sila na pwedeng gamitin. Ayan. Okay. Actually, yung mga estudyante po namin dito, they are always creating their Google presentation using the Google Slides. Kung wala naman po, edi yung PowerPoint, pwede naman po. Okay, and also the Mentimeter. Ito yung napakadali at napakabilis para malaman mo na may naintindihan sa iyo yung taong tinuturuan mo. Okay, through this Mentimeter. Tulad po ng pinagawa ko kanina, give 2 words that come to your mind when you think about inquiry. Tapos yung 3 best words po na madidescribe yung inquiry. At dun pa lang po sa mga sagot nyo, alam ko na po na naiintindihan nyo kung anong ibig sabihin ng inquiry. Yan, and I'm happy for that. So it's the same thing for our students. Kapag ginamitan natin sila dito ng mga ganitong, like for example, this one, Mentimeter, so makikita nyo kagad, ay oo nga, naintindihan. At alam mo na kagad sa kanila na, ay okay, medyo mayroon pang estudyante na medyo tagilid, hindi pa masyado. So, yan, dun natin malalaman na okay, kailangan kong malaman kung sino ito para mabigyan natin or matutukan natin. Diba po? Okay, so Mentimeter po yan. So if this were a lesson today, this might be examples of the making conclusion phase. Create a rubric or checklist of what does inquiry look like. Are you familiar with checklist for rubrics? Are you using rubrics or checklists sa school po?
Always.
Yan, always po. Yes. Yan, yes po. Yes, yes sir. Yan. Actually po, dito po sa school namin, we are not giving grades na 95, 94, 93. Yan. Sa amin po kasi, we are following the checklist and we are following the rubrics. Kung ano po yung nakalagay sa rubrics, yun po ang graded. Ang grade po namin is A, B, C, D, E, F. Or ilang pala. Yan, yan po. Tapos based on these letters, may nakalagay po doon na kung ano yung success criteria po ng mga bata. Yan. Okay, peer assessment. Yes, Ma'am Nerlita, nag-raise ka po ng hand. Yes, Ma'am Nerlita? Ma'am. Nawala. Siguro napindot lang ni Ma'am Nerlita.
Sorry sir, yung anak ko po yung nag-raise.
Okay, okay po. No problem. Peer assessment of the list of possible activities for each phases of inquiry. So ito po, magkakaroon po ng kung ito po ay klase natin, then I can ask po our participants dito or mga students magkaroon ng peer assessment dun po sa mga possible activities na ginawa natin doon sa another, ano pong phase yon? Yung sinabi ko kanina? Kung natatandaan nyo pa po, pa-type nga po. Nakalimutan na kung ano yung phase before making conclusion. It's going further. Ayan, going further po. Ayan. So I can ask you, okay, let's look at the list of the possible activities na ginawa ng mga klase natin. Then ayan, mag-assess tayo na, okay, yung comparing and contrasting na. Okay, next. This will be the last. Okay. Taking action. Taking action reinforce link between school, home, and the local and global community. Natutuwa ako sa batang ito. Ito ay picture ng ating anak ng kaibigan kong nasa US. So, ito po sa taking action, tapos na tayo sa making conclusion, di ba? Sabi natin, sir, nakapagbigay ka na ng ng summative assessment, tapos na 'yon. 'Yon sa inquiry po. Ito po ang tandaan natin that for us to really know na may impact yung tinuro natin sa mga bata kapag po sila ay nag-take action. Okay? Ano po ba itong take action ito? Reinforce link between school, home, and local and global community. So, for example, naintindihan ko po yung pinag-aralan ko. Paano ko ba ito gagawin? Yan, ayan na po yung application. Tama po yan, Mama Ricar. Paano natin i-apply yung mga natutunan natin sa real world? Kasi kung hindi po nila i-apply yung mga natutunan nila, ibig sabihin po, yung iba po na gumawa lang or nag-submit lang or sumunod sa mga task na ibinigay nyo for the sake na mabigyan sila ng grade. Yan. Pero kung ang bata po ay nag-take action, ibig sabihin may malaking impact po sa kanila yung natutunan nila. Okay po. Like for example, yung amin pong exhibition. Our exhibition po, ang mga estudyante po namin nagkaroon po ng iba't ibang topic, yung chosen topic nila. And one of our students, she decided to discuss about water pollution. So yun po yung interest niya. So nag-research about water pollution, ano ba yung cause ng water pollution, how to avoid water pollution, and at the end of her research, she did taking action. Ano po yung ginawa niya? Alam niya po na one of the rivers dito sa place namin sa Kaluga ay polluted. So what she did is she invited her friends and also her parents to have a clean-up drive doon po sa river. And doon niyo po makikita na ang bata ay talagang may impact sa kanya kung ano yung water pollution. Kasi naniniwala siya, mayroon siyang conceptual understanding na hindi maganda ang water pollution. Pwedeng magbigay ng sickness sa mga tao. Yan po, hindi maganda sa environment talaga. Yan. So, ang ginawa niya, nag-take siya ng action. So, kahit bata pa lang siya, grade 5, nag-take siya ng action, naglinis siya ng river, kahit sabihin natin na hindi naman buong river yung nilinisan, but at least she tried her best to help. Yan, para ma-avoid yung water pollution. And I think this is the message din para sa ating lahat. So hindi lang tayo as teachers, dapat hindi lang tayo more on may natutunan ba yung ating estudyante. No, we need to make sure na naintindihan nila at the same time may impact sa kanila yung natutunan nila para madali nila itong ma-connect sa real world. Yun po ang lagi kong pinapaalala sa mga teachers. Kasi ang lagi ko pong sinasabi sa mga teachers ko, I know that you are all good. Okay, you are all good teachers kasi nagpo-follow sila sa submission ng lesson plan, nagpo-follow ng kung ano yung mga strategy, but then you need to make sure na i-ano nyo yung taking action kasi dyan yung malalaman kung talagang may impact yung pagtuturo nyo or for the sake of submission lang. Yun po yung sinasabi ko sa kanila. So yan. So, taking action, initiate action, and response to their learning. Ayan, ito po yung mga estudyante namin dito sa school. So, nagkaroon po kami ng tree planting. Kasi nakita po namin na ang school, kasi bagong tayo po yung school, nakita ng mga bata na ay ang school namin hindi konti lang yung puno. Parang hindi mahangin kasi konti nga lang yung puno niya. Tapos they decided yan to have this tree planting. So nag-invite through the parents, through the student council, kinausap ang parents, class parent representatives, and yun nga. So the whole community, the whole school community nagtulong-tulong para magkaroon ng tree planting activity. Yan po. Okay, so what's next? What what are the purposes of taking action? Okay, to enable students to make choices and develop the belief that they can be effective participants in society, to provide further insights for students, understandings for future unit planning, and to provide further opportunities and contexts for ongoing learning about the topic. So hindi lang po siya about yun nga, pagkatapos natin ng making conclusion or nakatapos na yung ating summative exams or tests, hindi na po yan papakailaman ulit. So nandyan pa rin po na we are providing further opportunities na mag-discuss pa rin po or yung ongoing learning about the topic po. Yan. So, okay. So, what might this look like in an online class? Paano ba ito sa online class, itong taking action? So, first, you can use or you can ask the students to create their own website. Ayan. Alam niyo po ba na ang ating mga estudyante ay pwedeng mag-create ng sarili nilang website? Familiar po ba kayo sa how to create a website? Familiar po? Yes, familiar daw. Yan, ang Google Sites po, not yet. Actually, Sir Albert, ayan, Google Sites, they can create, ito po yung isa sa mga taking action ng estudyante ko. Yan. Wix po pwede gamitin. Correct. Pwede po ang Wix. Pwede yung gamitin. Or e-portfolio. Yes, tama din po yan. So actually po, dahil ang sabi ng estudyante ko, yung minentor ko nung current exhibition, yung exhibition na, former exhibition, ang kanya ay recycling at naisip niya po na taking action ay ang website. Mag-create po ng website. Bakit? Ang sabi niya po kasi sa akin, hindi naman po lahat ng tao ay nagpunta sa aking exhibition. At even na meron kaming online na exhibition presentation, hindi naman daw lahat ng tao ay nag-participate or nakarating sa online exhibition namin. So ang sabi niya, if I will create a Google or a website and publish it, so a lot of people can see the result or can see my research. And ano yung nilagay niya sa website na ito? Siyempre, kung paano mag-recycle, kung ano yung mga dapat na i-recycle. So, nag-take action din siya, di ba? So, ito, kalimitan, ang mga gumagamit nito is nasa higher level na. Even grade 4, I think, can do that. Yung sa Pilipinas, kung medyo techy na sila, pwede natin. At I believe meron namang ICT lessons din naman sa Pilipinas. So, pwede nila yan ituro sa mga bata. So, what else? Creating a podcast. Sino pong familiar dito sa podcast? So ito sa mga maybe sa middle school ito. So they can create a podcast about their understanding of the lesson. Yan. Tapos i-publish po nila yung podcast na yon. Malay natin, isa sa mga estudyante natin ay sumikat dahil sa podcast. Di ba? Yan. Meron sa Spotify. Ayan, meron po sa Spotify. Tama po kayo dyan. So, tingnan niyo po, ang dami pong pwede or possible na platform ang pwede natin gamitin to use for our students po. Yan. So, ano po ba yung mga purposes? Ano po ba, if this were a lesson today, this might be examples of the taking action phase. So ano ba ang ipapagawa ko sa inyo in case this is a lesson? So plan for the inquiry-based lesson for the next academic year. I might ask you also to post the recordings of this webinar or I can post this recordings to this webinar to my YouTube channel and Facebook page para po yung ibang hindi naka-attend at paputol-putol po yung connection, they can always go back po doon sa ating webinar. Ayan, tulad po nito, nag-a-admit pa rin po tayo. Ayan. So, they can always go back to the YouTube channel or Facebook page para sa recordings ng webinar na ito. So, yun po ang taking action. So, now, let's go back po sa phases of inquiry. Do you still remember kung ano yung mga phases of inquiry po? pwede pong patay or pwede pong mag-open kayo ng microphone, raise hand po kayo and I will call your name po. Ayan. Hala, wala silang natutunan. Walang natutunan. Okay. Nakalimutan na po yung phases of inquiry. Ayan, tuning in. Next. Tuning out. Pinagsama ni Ma'am.
Finding out.
Ayan, tuning in, finding out. Next.
Sorting out. Sorting out.
Okay.
Starting out,
Going further.
Going
going
further.
further,
Individual
conclusion.
projects.
Ay, hindi po, wala pong individual projects doon.
Ano ba yan?
making
Making
conclusion,
conclusion. Making
Ah.
conclusion.
Okay.
Taking action.
Taking action. Okay, so we have natuwa ka, pampagising daw yun yung tuning out. So, tuning in, finding out, sorting out, going further, making conclusion, and taking action. And actually, sa taking action po, this is part of our reflection. So, yun po yung reflection din. At the end of our this process, this inquiry process, papasok pa rin po, tulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo, heart ng ating process ay ang reflection. So this is the time po when we look back on the things that went well and the things that did not went nawala ako yung sasabihin ko na hindi naging maayos po. Ayun. Yan. What went wrong and what went well. Yan. So, tama po yan. Si Ma'am Iyana, going further, taking action, making conclusion. Ayan. So, tulad po ng sinabi ko, if you are going to ask me, Sir, kailangan ba sunod-sunod itong inquiry cycle? Okay? Hindi kailangan na sunod-sunod ito. So, sa phases of inquiry, as what I've mentioned, if the student is already on going further, okay, and the others are nasa finding out. Yung iba po kasi na, okay, may prior knowledge and masyado nang mataas yung kanyang knowledge about the topic, then he or she can go further. Okay? And paano doon sa mga bata na nag-start pa lang ng understanding doon sa lesson mo? So, they can go to tuning in or finding out. So, again, it's the role of the teacher. It's always the role of the teacher kung paano mo ipaplan ang lessons mo sa iyong mga estudyante, whether it is face-to-face or online po. Okay? So, now, let's go to our conceptual understanding. This is, okay, ano ba yung mga natutunan natin? Dito sa webinar po and workshop natin, these are the conceptual understandings po. So first, inquiry begins with students' knowledge and curiosity upon which they construct meaning and build connections. In inquiry, students are actively involved and take responsibility for their learning in an authentic context. Inquiry is the true differentiation. It allows all students to understand the world in a way that is unique to them. Okay? And next, inquiry is not only questions. It is a process that involves provocation, reflection, and consolidation. Okay? The inquiry process analyzes, synthesizes, and manipulates knowledge. It can be developed through play and more structured learning. Inquiry is a shared process, a collaborative interplay between students, teachers, and the environment. Successful inquiry requires pre-assessment, continual formative assessment, and a summative task or tasks that allows students to demonstrate their conceptual understanding. Ayan. Ito po yung lahat ng mga bagay about inquiry na I hope po ay naintindihan ninyo po. Ayan. Sana po may na-share ako sa inyo. Sana nakatulong din po itong webinar and workshop na ito para po magamit nyo po sa inyong mga klase or sa inyong mga schools. Ayan. And now, Miss Ava, I will call Miss Ava
Yes, sir.
for our Q&A.
Yes, sir. But before that, okay, thank you very much, Sir Louis, for imparting your knowledge and expertise on inquiry-based learning in an online environment. This is very timely as this has been true to all and is considered a great struggle any place in the world. COVID-19 pandemic has caught us all by surprise as to how to face a challenging situation in education, but thankfully teachers aren't limited in our capacity to strive to look for possible and innovative ways to teach and deliver quality education, especially through online learning. And now, as what was said by Sir Louis, we shall have the open forum. If you have any questions or clarifications, please feel free to type in your queries using the chat box, or you may unmute and ask the question directly to Sir Louis.
Okay, so if you want to be connected po sa akin, ayan, habang mag-iintay ako ng Q&A ng mga questions, this is my Facebook page po, Mr. J's Learning Hub, and also my YouTube channel. So kung gusto niyo po mag-subscribe, I will be very happy. Yan, Mr. J's Learning Hub din po ang aking YouTube channel. Ayan po. And thank you for listening. So, ay wala talagang question?
Everything has been explained well, though.
I thank you so much po. I really appreciate that. Actually, pasensya na po kung medyo inuubo po ako kanina kasi ang haba talaga ng conversation natin. Nagulat ako kasi mahirap talaga na lagi tayong yung ikaw lang yung nagsasalita, no? Talagang mawawalan ka ng boses. So, yun po. Okay, so if you don't have any question, Ma'am Ava.
Okay, so I hope that all unclear perspectives on inquiry-based learning have been clearly explained. So at this point, it's time to present this sort of token of appreciation to Sir Louis. But first, allow me to read the citation. Philippine Christian University, City of Dasmariñas, Cavite, Philippines, Certificate of Recognition is hereby presented to Mr. J. Louis A. Torres for being the resource speaker in the webinar and workshop entitled Inquiry-Based Learning in an Online Environment, given this 23rd day of July 2021. Signed, Dr. Lenely C. Borromeo, Graduate School of Education, Philippine Christian University, City of Dasmariñas, Cavite. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Any words of Thanksgiving, Sir Louis?
Okay. Balik na pa rin pala ako. Okay, anyway, I am actually, to be honest po, at first, this webinar po is really for our classmates. Kasi when we had our conversation, as what Dr. Borromeo po mentioned, that this is part of our culminating activity for our subject leadership and school public relations. So when we had our conversation with regards to the strategies and the methods of teaching in the Philippines, we talked about inquiry-based learning, and this is also one of the things that we research for our curriculum development. So as we go deeper on this inquiry-based learning, we thought that, well, actually, yeah, we just reflected that, okay, the Philippines are giving a lot of methodologies for the sake of the education, the quality of education. However, I question myself. Actually, I'm not questioning the Department of Education here. I just question myself. It's just my own reflection. If our teachers in the Philippines receive a kind of like trainings or webinars or workshop with regards to inquiry-based learning. And some of the teachers actually, they said they already have it, they already had it, but the others said that, okay, maybe I was not there or maybe it was not given yet to us. So I decided to inform Dr. Borromeo that if it's okay with her to give this kind of webinar and workshop, since I am a practitioner, I am an inquiry-based practitioner po. So that's the reason why I have this opportunity to render this kind of webinar and workshop. But first, let me apologize because I'm not really a perfect speaker. I know that there's a lot of perfect speakers all from different parts of the world, and even in the Philippines, may mas magagaling po sa akin talaga. But the main objective of this webinar and workshop is just really to impart my knowledge about the inquiry base, which I've been doing this for years na po. So, I apologize for kung nararattle ako kanina nagbabakil or I lost some of the words. But I hope po na I imparted my knowledge, may natutunan po kayo, naging malinaw po sa inyo yung inquiry-based learning, especially sa online po. And I am very happy and welcome to get feedback po from you. Yan po. Tulad po ng sinabi ko po sa inyo, teachers, we are lifelong learners. So we cannot be stagnant. So kung may napansin po kayo na dapat kong baguhin sa aking pag-webinar or what, so just feel free to message me sa Facebook page po. Ayan. And I'm very happy. Thank you very much for those who registered for this webinar. I know it's really rough because of what is happening there in the Philippines because of the typhoon. Ayan, medyo basang-basa kayo dyan. Ayan, so pero nagstay po kayo and nakinig po kayo. And for those teachers who are not feeling well right now because of the vaccine that they received, ayan, thank you very much pa rin po dahil kahit papaano po, kahit may sakit kayo, masama pakiramdam nyo, na try pa rin po kayo maging part po ng webinar and ng workshop. Yan, thank you very much, Dr. Borromeo, for this wonderful opportunity, and to all our classmates. Mabuhay PCU.
Thank you and congratulations, sir. Actually, you're the best speaker in our class, of course. Ikaw talaga yon, ikaw lang yon. Okay.